All right, turning now to a regional tax in the Portland metro area. And before you fall asleep at the mention of taxes, this one you should care about. The Supportive Housing Services Tax. It's meant to help end the homeless crisis. You may have seen the tax in headlines as the SHS tax and how Multnomah County struggled to actually spend the tax revenue the first few years. But just 4 years after it was implemented, there's a proposal to change it. Today, I dug into what that could look like.
Changes could be coming to a controversial tax called the Supportive Housing Services Tax. You've likely heard of it if you live in the greater Portland area, covered by the regional metro government, which includes Multnomah, Clackamas, and Washington County. The voter-approved tax has been in effect since 2021 for people who make $125,000 and couples who make $200,000 annually. The tax is 1% on all income made above those thresholds. That 1% is money meant to address the homeless crisis, playing out on our streets every day.
Rapid response is coming and clearing us out. Hopeless, kind of. Like, it just feels like alone.
Metro's Council President Lynn Peterson is proposing these 6 changes to the Supportive Housing Services Tax. They include forming a new committee to improve program accountability, putting the money toward affordable housing, extending the program an additional 20 years until 2050, and raising the income threshold while lowering the tax from 1% to 0.75% in 2031, taxing money made above the thresholds. At an October meeting, county leaders, many from Clackamas County, where voters were not for the tax in the first place, expressed skepticism over these proposed changes.
If it isn't broken, what are you trying to fix here?
And reducing tax revenues for SHS will certainly result in backtracking and community harm.
The changes you are proposing with this resolution would disrupt our program and destabilize our ongoing success. Just as we're hitting our stride, you would force us to cut services and put people back on the street.
And I truly believe, colleagues, that changing this in midstream is really a huge policy mistake.
Metro proposals to change direction would risk slowing our progress and putting our SHS goals at risk. And that's something that none of us want to happen.
While this tax money has provided housing success for some, in recent years, Metro collected way more than they had forecast, to the tune of about $50 million. Multnomah County was criticized for not getting the money out the door fast enough, while people like Richard tried to get off the streets.
It's actually extremely hard to get housing. I know I've probably turned in about 5 or 6 applications to different houses that they have, but have not gotten any emails back or phone calls or anything like that.
As the Metro Council considers changes to the SHS services measure, I want to express my commitment to our shared goals. More transparency on how funds are spent, clearer performance metrics, helping those most at risk, and creating a pathway to permanent housing.
It'll be a pleasant surprise, but until it's done, I'm hesitant on accepting that.
Now, the Metro Council will consider the president's proposal in the coming weeks to decide whether or not they will send the measure to voters in the May 2025 election. Any proposal must have majority support from Metro Council, 4 votes among the 7-person council in order for it to be referred to voters. The council is scheduled to hold a work session about this on Thursday. The first public hearing on this is set for January 23rd. Okay, so we want to bring in live now Lynn Peterson, Metro's president. Lynn, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So first, and to echo some of those county leaders that we just heard from, why make changes to this already controversial tax, which appears to be working in some areas?
It's a great question. This program has really helped thousands of Oregonians off the street, but it's set to end in 2030. That is about, 5 years away. And what that means is that our county providers will start to need to look at a ramp down very soon. And I know that we all don't want to be in the position of having all those folks back out on the street or putting any more people at risk. So we are looking at the issues that the service providers are already facing now in winding down those budgets. But I am certainly not going to be looking to ask the voters to extend this program without any reforms to oversight, governance, and a lower tax rate.
So after listening to concerns from county commissioners, many of them say they're afraid that some of your proposed changes will jeopardize the good work that's already being done. What do you have to say to those concerns?
Yeah, no, we've listened very hard to the issues that the three counties have raised, as well as providers and those with lived experience. And what I can tell you is that nobody wants to go back. Nobody wants to jeopardize the good work that has been done. But I believe that there is no way that we should be putting out a mission accomplished banner behind any of us by any means, because we still have a lot of work to do. We are faced right now with a huge surge in evictions in a region that exceeds 10,000 people per year in the metro area. And so one of the reforms we're proposing is to allow this money to be used to build housing, which can make sure we have enough homes for all of our region's residents. And more housing also ensures that when we're moving people off the street, it's towards long-term stability.
So a sticking point, though, for many county leaders is that they aren't in favor of cutting the tax rate from 1% to 0.75%. So why do you want to cut it?
Well, certainly you brought up the fact that we have been bringing in more money than we had anticipated. So we believe that there's room to be able to do more and allow for more folks that are middle income but have gotten caught in the high income tax bracket as inflation increases to move them out. So that's the first thing. And one, we want to provide some relief in the region so that we can actually make sure that everybody has the opportunity to succeed in our region.
So watching that meeting, something that caught my attention, Clackamas County commissioners, they see this whole thing as having to pay for Multnomah County's mistakes. And what I mean by that is, Multnomah County has been criticized in the past for not spending this money in a timely fashion. And other counties feel like they're being punished because of it when it comes to, say, setting up like an oversight committee. What do you have to say to that?
I think, again, all three counties have done a very good job in growing their programs, but what we have not been able to achieve is a regional program, so that no matter where you enter the system geographically or how you enter the system, whether that's through mental health requests or addiction services, or just by the fact that you're asking for either a shelter bed or permanent supportive housing, we don't have a regional system. So what we needed to do is, in order to get that efficiency and be able to build more housing, is we have to grow this to a regional system. And that's what our oversight committee has been asking for. But we found that the oversight committee structure that was created in the last measure doesn't have the teeth to actually get us there.
Okay, well, Lynn, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, so should the supportive housing services tax stay the way it is, or do you think the president's plan is the right path forward here? We love to hear your feedback. So email us thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail 503-226-5090.